I tell you what, we don't know which way this trial is going to shake out, but these two advocates have been excellent today. Two ladies taking over the courtroom, one representing the state of New Jersey, the other who's also employed by the state. I want to note that this defense attorney we just saw is an assistant deputy public defender representing Paul Caneiro. So let's talk about what impressions the members of the jury may have been left with after watching these two opening statements. What impressions do you have at home? Hit us up on social media right now. Let us know. I want to bring in our law enforcement analyst guest who also does trial consulting work. Sunny Slaughter is with us. Sunny, good morning to you. Share with us your impressions from both sides in the advocacy that we saw today, if you would, please.
Good morning, Julie. Thank you for having me. So first, I have to applaud my sisters from New Jersey, my home state. Very well done, as always. The prosecution came out strong and heavy with their theories and their themes of the case, which I thought was excellent. Very fiery, very passionate, and very key and on point with where they will go in the direction of this particular case. The defense loved it. Great. She was passionate, and she was very focused on the investigative practice, because defense teams need to have a laser focus on where the holes could potentially be. And that's where I thought she focused her conversation and the context around whether there was, and I think she kind of skewed this a little bit maybe for the jury, but investigation bias and confirmation bias are two separate things, and not, they can merge together, and which they do. But I think she did a really good job at questioning the investigation and whether the theory, the investigative process lines up with the theory of the case, because they got locked in so early and they didn't ask enough questions. They didn't follow an investigative process that looks at all individuals that have the potential. And then the confirmation bias is led them to continue to stay laser focused on one individual, only confirming what they have identified in the investigative bias of the case.
Right, Sunny. Yes, she is saying that another brother named Corey Caneiro was overlooked. Now, important to understand, I know you know this, Sunny, but for anybody watching, she's an advocate. So let's bear in mind that her job is to advocate for one person, whereas the state's job, and you know this, Sunny, is to get to the truth. So if that means withdrawing charges, amending charges, when you're a prosecutor, your job is to get the right person, you know, and that's the way it goes. So I want to be very clear when defense attorneys will say, well, we're telling the truth, we're spouting off the truth. You're spouting off advocacy is what you're spouting off. It could be the truth depending on the circumstances. You know, my friend, you know how it is. This Paul Caneiro, he looked sick, didn't he? He looked worried, sick at certain points. What did you think when we saw him, Sunny?
So from a jury consultant lens, I really thought that hopefully they had talked about this, but it is emotional. He was playing and looking the part that he should, because a lot of times we see defendants who show no emotion. And when there was conversation around the children especially, then you saw him get a little anxious. He was tearing up. You know, it is concerning, and that's what he needs to do.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Okay, it looks like I see tears. Or at least watery eyes, glassy eyes, something's going on there. We'll dissect him and his body language more as this trial goes on. Sunny, I'm so glad you're here. Stand by kindly, please. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll hear from witness number 1. Back to court we go in New Jersey for the Mansion murders case. We got the first witness up. This woman worked for a charity that contracted with the Caneiro tech firm, Square One. Let's go in live.
On Foundation do?
It's a nonprofit private foundation that gives away grants for areas of giving by the will of Doris Duke.
It's a charitable organization? Okay. Now, can you tell us what, if any, locations physically Doris Duke had?
New York, New Jersey, and Hawaii.
Okay. And were you assigned to one of those locations back in 2018?
My main office was in New Jersey, but I had to travel to New York and Hawaii offices.
Now, back in 2018, can you tell us approximately how long you'd worked for the Duke Foundation?
I started in 2001 and left in 2024.
Okay, so you no longer work there?
No.
Okay. Now, back in 2018, can you tell us what your title was with Doris Duke Foundation?
I was the Director of Information Systems.
Okay. Can you just briefly, for anyone who might not know, tell us what that means?
I was responsible for information technology, rendering technology services for all the sites, which is New York, New Jersey, Hawaii. And technology included everything: security, user computing, telecom, networking.
Now, as the Director of Information Systems at Doris Duke, who did you report to directly?
The Chief Operating Officer,
Okay, back in 2018, who was that?
Peter Simmons.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, you said you were the director at that point in time, correct?
Yes.
How long have you been the director as of 2018?
2016, I was a director, and in 2020, I was promoted to the Chief Technology Officer.
Okay. So is it fair to say in 2016 you became the director?
Yes.
Who was the director prior to you?
Deborah Close.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you a little bit about the IT needs at the Duke Foundation. You familiar with those, I imagine?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did someone provide IT services to the Duke Foundation?
Yes, it was through a managed service provider. The company, all the companies you want me to name?
Let me just, I'll be more specific. Did the Doris Duke Foundation back in 2018 and prior to that have any relationship with a company called Square One?
Yes, they were our primary managed service provider.
Okay, when you say primary managed service provider, what did Square One do for Doris Duke?
Managed service provider was a key vendor, services rendered by this company that provided technology services and support to all the offices, to all the users at the foundation.
Okay.
All right, we're going to hit a break. The testimony continues in New Jersey after this.
Did an affair lead to double murder?
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has secured an indictment against Brendan Banfield for the murder of his wife, Christine, and the murder of Mr. Ryan.
Prosecutors allege the defendant planned to run away with the family's au pair. So he killed his wife and another man.
He was there, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
It's a case of sex, lies, and deadly deception.
The Au Pair Affair murder trial. Live coverage this week following jury selection on Court TV.
Back into the courtroom we go. We've got a witness who worked for a company who contracted with the company that Paul and Keith Caneiro owned. Remember, prosecutors are alleging that money was the motivation for these crimes. Let's watch.
As of, let's say, 2018, how long the Duke Foundation had a relationship with Square One?
I think the first contract was signed in 2003, perhaps, yeah.
Now, is it fair to say for a substantial period of time?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now, back in November of 2018, was there a contract in place for those services between Square One and the Duke Foundation?
Yes.
Okay. Were you involved in the creation or the negotiation of that particular contract?
No, the director was then Deborah Close.
Okay. So Ms. Close negotiated that contract?
Yes.
Were you an employee at the Duke Foundation while that was being negotiated?
Yes.
Okay. So as far as that contract was concerned, do you know who negotiated on behalf of Square One or no?
Yes.
And who was that?
Paul Caneiro.
Okay. Paul Caneiro, did he work for Square One?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as for Square One and your knowledge of Square One, did you know who the owners or the people who ran Square One, who they were?
Yeah.
Okay, and who were they?
Keith and Paul were primary working towards the contract.
Okay. Now, as far as Square One's day-to-day operations at Duke, who was actually responsible for that, let's say in 2018?
Well, we had 3 tech support guys on site, and a 4th one who went to the New York office once a week. And we also had a senior engineer who would be brought in for special projects. But they were all managed. Technology management was done through Paul.
Was done through, I'm sorry?
Paul Caneiro.
Okay. Now, back in 2018, during that portion of that contract, were you dealing with Paul Caneiro?
When you say dealing, he was the senior guy from Square One who helped with technology support and services.
Okay. Now, that contract, the one that was in place in November of 2018, do you know when it began?
It was a 6-year contract, so it was signed in 2013, and we were still on a contract with them.
Okay. Permission to approach the witness?
Yeah.
Sebastian, I'm just going to show you what's been marked as S17 for identification. Do you recognize what that is?
Yeah.
And what is it?
Contract
A contract for what?
for a managed service provider through Square One.
Okay. So is that a contract between Square One and the Doris Duke Foundation?
Yes.
Okay. And again, does it indicate the inception date of that contract?
It says November 15th is when it was prepared.
Okay. Now, I just want to direct your attention to the end of that, page 5 of S17. Do you recognize that area?
Yeah.
And what is that?
It was signed by Ed Henry, who was then the CEO. And on the right, it was signed by Paul Caneiro, who was the lead person at Square One for all contracts.
Okay. And does it indicate with respect to Mr. Caneiro's, I guess there would be printed name, does it indicate a title?
It says VP here.
Okay. Now.
Okay, so interesting choice of witnesses to kick off this trial with. To start with somebody who works for a company and who contracted with the Caneiro company. What do you think of that choice? Let me ask our guest, who happens to be a trial consultant, Sunny Slaughter, watching along with us. Sunny, your thoughts on the way they're kicking off the case evidence?
I think it's interesting that they are using this particular witness, but maybe she brings context to what his role was at the company, and this will tie into the alleged theft that the prosecution is saying that there was, and how he was in the leadership role and what exactly he did. But I think more importantly is what you have been saying from the very beginning, understanding the prosecution and the defense's role and their way of advocating for their client so people understand criminal justice processes.
Yeah, definitely. If I were trying this case and I'm the prosecutor on it, I would go with one of the strongest case investigators to just set the scene, because the jury heard all the terrible stuff in the opens. I wouldn't start with testimony that's kind of dry and more about finances. They're in criminal court. This is over 4 murders. I would go with somebody who can speak to that gruesome scene. That's just me. Sunny, your thoughts?
I would too.
You would as well, yeah, and you would advise, yeah. And tell us more why that might be advisable to go with a witness like that, an investigator. Oh, you know what? I'm being told I just have 30 seconds to finish. Sunny, I can't have you finish, so I got to hit the break. I could keep talking to you, my friend. We're out of time because we got to get to more testimony, but we appreciate you so much. Always very insightful conversations with our friend Sunny Slaughter.